Alright, so listen up. The Blue Lock Chapter 329 leaks have just dropped, and with the title being Don't Run Away, we'll of course be getting some new Generation 11 screen time. And honestly, all I really have to say is if you're a fan of Michael KAISER or Julian LOKI, you might want to start celebrating now because they are going crazy. So without further ado, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content, drop your thoughts in the comments, and please enjoy today's leaks. We begin Chapter 329 with a small change of scenery as we cut over to the second game of the U-20 World Cup, Group A's matchup between France and England. With the intro text reading, "Nobody can even touch this speed. An otherworldly speedster dominates the field. We already know exactly who is about to start cooking the defense." None other than Julian LOKI is shown sprinting straight towards England's goal box, blasting past two defenders with his godlike speed as his eyes turn completely white and a blazing aura trails behind him. With one defender trying to leap in and stop him, LOKI decides to just fire off a power shot just outside of the penalty arc, which perfectly splashes into the top left net right above the keeper. This man definitely meant it when he told Isagi he was more than just about speed, because this is an insanely clean shot to be hitting in a tournament like this. At least we know for sure that England does not have a new Gen 11 goalkeeper or probably a center back, or just defenders in general. I know the Agi fans were praying for an upscale. This goal though seems to be the deciding one that wins France the match, as the third page then shows Julian LOKI posing up in his classic pose with the scoreline displayed as 2-1 in France's favor. It's also revealed that LOKI scored both goals for France, securing himself a first match brace, but I still find the scoreline to be pretty interesting. If Japan was able to thrash Nigeria with 4 goals, that means England must have some fairly solid defensive structure to hold up against France and their overwhelming offense. We then see the Group A standings table, with Japan and France sitting at ranks 1 and 2 as expected, while England and Nigeria both take a first match loss and sit at 0 points. Poor Nigeria is already sitting at a -4 goal difference, while Japan is at +4. I mean, insane work. We then get to see all of the group stage standings after match day 2, and let me tell you, it is a lot, but also very interesting. I'll probably end up making an entirely separate video just going over this information and making predictions, but right off the bat, Uruguay, Brazil, Spain all stand out as the most dominant teams based on goal difference. On the other side of the spectrum, Group H is in complete chaos, with Peru, Austria, Wales, and Belgium all sitting dead even on 1 single point. I will leave a pinned comment with all of the standings and countries, so feel free to go take a look at that while I yap on. The legend himself, Michael KAISER, is then shown swinging through with a strike, finishing out his first game with an overwhelming 3-0 hat trick against Costa Rica. This man is looking majestic as the light in his eyes is glowing brighter than ever, and we also get to see the full Group P that he and Germany are in. Germany is of course in the lead with 3 points, with South Korea and Serbia having 1 each, and Costa Rica in last place with 0 after their crushing defeat. The next page then shows Oliver Aiku along with some of the other Blue Lockers watching KAISER finish out the game, and just as I expected, Germany wins cleanly. Ryu then breaks out a full-on KAISER impression saying, "I've been yearning for this, Yoichi," while Latoya takes on the role of Ness and follows it up by saying, "I've come to get my revenge, Yoichi." The real question is though, whose KAISER impression is actually better, Isagi's father or Ryu? Bato immediately shuts the noise down, telling everyone to cut it out, while Hiyori the Fraud then starts yapping. He explains that the group league is a round-robin format where each team plays 3 matches, and only the top 2 from each group advance, meaning 6 teams move on in total. Because of that, if Japan managed to win the next match and secure their second victory, advancing to the knockout stage is basically guaranteed. Raichi points out the obvious problem though, since their next opponent is France, the current #1 ranked team in the world. Chikuri doesn't hesitate for even a second and says it doesn't matter who they're up against, because no matter the opponent, they're going to devour them and win. Corona backs up that mindset, saying that if they plan on winning the whole tournament anyway, France is a team they'd have to beat eventually, so it might as well be now. Yukimiya wraps it all up perfectly by saying that in the end, the only thing that actually matters is being the world's #1. Yukimiya then turns to Isagi and tells him that mindset sounds exactly like something he would say, which immediately catches him off guard. Chigure then jumps in too, saying he completely gets it, only making Isagi even more confused as he asks if they're all messing with him. Yuki quickly waves it off and says no, apologizing and clarifying that he's actually praising Isagi, specifically how his mindset stays sharp whenever he's under pressure. Shigure immediately ruins the sincerity by calling it spoiled prodigy energy, which of course sets Raichi off as he loudly claims that Shikure has that same spoiled prodigy vibe. Corona barely even reacts and gives it a try, yeah, while Isagi finally snaps and tells them they're absolutely messing with him. Shikure follows that up seriously, pointing out that this just means everyone is going to be aiming straight for Isagi now. Raichi makes it even clearer by saying that he has no intention of handing over the title of world's #1 that easy. Isagi doesn't hesitate for a second and accepts the challenge head on, saying yeah, bring it on, because that's exactly what it means to be an elite egoist in Blue Lock. In a odd very couple panels, I will say, Isagi walks into the Blue Lock restroom and looks over to see Itoshi Rain at one of the urinals. Isagi though is at least man enough to follow the unspoken rule and leave Itoshi Rain that 1 urinal gap between them. That's my go. Rin immediately tells him not to look, and Isagi fires back that the feeling is mutual. After a brief pause, Rin suddenly asks if soccer is fun, mentioning that super invincible state and how everything seems to be going exactly as Isagi planned. Isagi answers honestly and says yeah, it's fun, before asking if Rin is jealous and jokingly offering to let him get a taste of his success. That's kinda crazy to say in the bathroom. Pause. Rin shuts that idea down right away though, saying that's not what he means and warning Isagi to not get satisfied already. As they finish up washing their hands and get ready to leave, itoshi tells Isagi to keep craving more and keep pushing himself, because until the day Rin finally defeats his older brother Sai, Isagi better remain the Demon King standing in his way. It's honestly such a bizarre interaction, especially considering the entire exchange is happening in the men's restroom, but at the same time it feels perfectly on brand for these two. No matter the setting, it is on site. As Itoshi walks out of the bathroom, Bachara is then seen dribbling a ball on his head up the hallway, asking if anyone's seen Isagi. Wanting to train with him, he's out seeking his buddy, however Rin denies ever seeing him and just walks away, saying that he needs to take a shit and go to sleep. Such a wise man of few words. I really am liking this new, more laid back and less serious version of Rin, as he absolutely still has what it takes and is even more locked in than ever, but socially, he's just far more tolerable. The perspective then switches over to Isagi Yoichi, who's now entered one of the bathroom stalls and is leaning up against the wall thinking, we can assume that Blue Lock has a really good cleaning staff, probably some robots or something, but I am still never touching the bathroom wall. No shot at all. He's telling himself not to get satisfied as he's now Blue Lock Japan's official ace and #1. He's expected to compete and have skills to take on even the world's best. As we see Isagi flashing through his memories and sorting through everything in his head, it feels like he's reassuring himself that at least for now, everything is in a good place. He reflects on how everyone is chasing after him while he continues to level up, how his relationship with Itoshi Rin and his fellow egoist is surprisingly stable, and how he's fully on board with Ego's dream. While this is all good and such, we then see Isagi crouched down looking very familiar to Kaiser when he crashed out. Gripping his wrist tightly with black text bubbles appearing around him, he admits that being #1 is a scary thing. We have to keep in mind that Isagi is barely an adult at this point in his life, so all of this pressure and everything that's happened to him since joining Blue Lock, it's truly a lot for anyone to handle, let alone someone so young. Isagi's hand starts to tremble as the weight of it all finally hits him. With everything now centered around Isagi, he realizes that a single mistake could cause his entire team, and even Blue Lock itself, to crumble in an instant. The pressure of being the ace begins to genuinely overwhelm him as that fear starts creeping in. Even though becoming the world's best is exactly what he wishes for, there's a part of him that can't stop thinking about the risk involved. Trying to calm himself down, Isagi raises his hand to his head and takes a deep breath, slowly breathing in and out as he forces his thoughts to settle. In that moment, it finally clicks for him that this is the pressure of being the top player on a team. It's the first time he's ever had to carry this level of responsibility, and the weight of it feels overwhelming. His mind drifts to Itoshi Rin, to Kaiser, and even Julian Loki, wondering if they've always carried this kind of pressure so naturally without letting it break them. That thought then leads him one step further, realizing Noah must have felt this burden even more intensely, and not just once, but countless times, and somehow, every single time, he overcame it. As we see posters outside of the facility advertising the upcoming Japan vs France match, Isagi tells himself that he cannot run away from this feeling. His face is plastered on a poster representing Japan, and with every single touch of the ball, his entire career feels like it's on the line. We then flash forward slightly into the future, with fans already cheering loudly in the stands as Isagi lets out a deep breath. The final page shows him walking out onto the pitch for the start of the Japan vs France match, which will hopefully begin next chapter. In order to overcome these feelings and this crushing pressure, Isagi realizes that he has to fully embrace it, becoming obsessed with being #1 and learning how to handle that responsibility. With that bringing today's leaks to an end, we sadly are on break next week, which you genuinely hate to see. That said, this chapter gave us a ton to talk about, so don't worry, I will actually upload this week instead of dying in bed while sick. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and drop your predictions down below for the Japan vs France match, and with that, I'll see you all next time.